Hey guys, Claudia here. Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Today we are going to be taking a tour of the cut flower garden, which I'm so excited about. It's my favorite place to be. We were actually in the UK for 10 days, and when we got back, it like blew up with color. It was unbelievable. We went to see my older brother who lives in Scotland, and I got to meet my nephew Mateo for the first time, and it was so magical. I love being there. I got to spend so much time with my sister-in-law and my brother and Mateo, and Sergey and I just had the best time. We went to Edinburgh and I loved going there. I can't wait to go back. We also went to St. Andrews, and that was so much fun. There were so many beautiful gardens, and we noticed a lot of people had greenhouses, and it was just very magical, and I can't wait to go back and explore like the entire UK. Honestly, it was just so magnificent. If we have any viewers from the UK or Scotland, hello, I love your country. I can't wait to come back. We also had the border installed around the cut flower garden. So remember, we were talking about doing the metal edging all the way around, and we got the gravel in, and it looks so good. I can't wait, and I love the sound of it. I think the first night we had it all of the gravel in there, I was just literally walking around for a whole hour just listening to the gravel, and it made me so happy. So anyways, the lighting is a little bit harsh, so I will include some pictures of all of the beautiful dahlias that we have. I know we're going to go through all of the flowers, but I know the dahlias are kind of the queen of the cut flower garden right now, and it's just a little bit easier to see them in photographs so you can really see the details. So I'll make sure, like within the tour and at the end, I'll show you guys some pictures of all of the varieties that we have blooming, and one quick little announcement at the end of the video. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump right in. The climbing roses are doing phenomenal. This is Eden right here. I have a picture of it when it was like just blooming its little head off, but it looks so beautiful, and they put on so much size, and there's a lot of buds popping up everywhere, which we will have another flush of roses over here. Now, you can tell things did get a little bit out of control. This bed was dedicated to the cosmos. Here we have status and zinnias, and I'll go over some of the varieties as well. We have scabiosa, phlox, more zinnias that self-seeded. These were from last year, and I couldn't bring myself to taking them out, so I just let it rip and let it go. We also had some snapdragons over here, but I cut those down because they had rust, a really bad case of rust, so I took that down. And then we have the dahlia beds right over here. But if we come back, actually, and here's the other arch we have. Isn't that just so beautiful? Remember, I think I asked you guys about the positioning of this a while back, but we decided to put it on the grass, and we will be putting just a little bit of a metal trim around so the grass doesn't get so bushy down below, because we don't want to cause any disease with this overgrown grass onto the roses. But this is a Woolerton Old Hall climbing rose, and it's a David Austin climbing rose, and it's just so beautiful. It starts out, it's like this peachy rose, and it's kind of cupped, so it just looks like a little teacup almost. And then they do get a little bit bigger, but they kind of fade into this really pretty creamy white. Lots of buds. It's been a really great producer, and it just looks so beautiful. I can't believe how big it's gotten since we planted it at the beginning of the season. So this is kind of the reason why I wanted to add this here is, again, just another entry into the cut flower garden. Let's talk about the edging and the crushed gravel before we really dive into the flowers. This is about, I think it's 5 or 6 inches, the height of the metal edging that we brought in. And we had somebody come in and they welded pieces together. These were actually super long pieces, I think 20 feet long, and they welded them together. They also welded like this piece of metal along with a rebar to really make sure that this isn't gonna move anywhere. So it's actually rebarred into the ground, so it's really sturdy, it's not going to move. And then we lay down tarp and then the gravel on top. So in between all of the walkways, we do have tarp and then the gravel, which choosing gravel, I'll tell you what, was one of the hardest decisions we had to make, because we couldn't find the exact one we wanted locally, and the one we did find was going to cost like $600 a yard, which was just astronomical for us to do something that here. So we went with this one, and it's just a little bit bigger than like quarter minus, but I do love just the color of it, the feel of it, and the sound of it. It turned out so beautiful. And I know bringing gravel into your garden doesn't seem like such a big deal, but for me it was such a huge deal, because I had this idea in my mind, and to see it come to life was so special. And remember, this is our first home, our first garden. So to be able to do these things right now, it's such a big milestone for us, and it just makes me really happy and proud of how far we've come. And just having Sergey be so supportive and encouraging and everything. I don't want to get emotional, but anyways, over gravel. But it was one of those like milestones for me to have this area almost be buttoned up and done, and just see everything come to life. Anyways, let's get into the flowers. Let's talk about the Cosmo bed first, and then we'll make our way down. The Cosmos are doing really well, and they're one of my favorite flowers to grow, and they're so easy. They're such a workhorse in the garden. They just produce all season long. The one thing, or the mistake that I made, is I planted them way too close. So you can see up close there's some powdery mildew going on there. So I will come in and spray this, but this is my own fault because I didn't thin them out, and you can see how close they are. So this is definitely a garden fail for me this year. I will list all of the varieties that we grew this year. One of my favorites is this cupcake blush, and also this double click rose. Look at this beautiful Cosmo. They just are so special and so beautiful. The apricota is also a really good one. It just has, it almost glows. It has this pink, yellowy, orange out. It kind of looks like a sunset, to be honest. We also have, let's see, double click snow puff. These are really pretty. The rubenza right back here. Let's make our way through. Also just a classic favorite of mine. Love that deep burgundy, like pink burgundy color. And then we have Bright Lights Cosmo, which, let me tell you what, if you want to add a pop of color into your garden and really draw your eyes somewhere, definitely these Cosmos are going to be what you want to grow. And let me see if I can find one. They produce really nice seed heads. Here we go. So you can see that this is ready to be harvested, and I could plant these next year. Look at that. All those seeds are good for next year. So this is a really good producer. The bees love it. This is definitely one that I want to continue putting in the landscape, which I'll throw some pictures up of our landscape where we planted the cut flowers. It kind of went crazy. I won't be planting that many flowers in the landscape again, so bunched up, but it was just such a fun experiment. But Bright Lights Cosmos, definitely a favorite. And I don't want to get too off track, but look at all of the pumpkins that we're growing, and they just took off. Look at all of these. I'm so excited. I am going to come in and probably in like 2 weeks cut everything back, because I want to bring mulch in to address the areas that kind of got damaged when they were installing the edging. You can see the edging from the outside here, and this will kind of patina over time, which I'm really excited about. It's one of the reasons why I really wanted the metal edging. Now the zinnias are doing good. They're definitely not as big as they were last year, and I feel like I got them in the ground in time. I did direct sow This entire bed was direct sown. Same with the cosmos. The only zinnias that I started from seed were the ones that I planted out in the landscape, but everything else here was direct sown. I got the seeds from Florette and Johnny Seeds. Most of our zinnias, we grew so many varieties, and I think the bigger ones are the ones that I like, the Benary's giant salmon. Those are the ones that I incorporated in the landscape, and those are so gorgeous. But these are also doing really well. One of the ones that I have been enjoying the most this year is the Queenie Lime with Blush. It's just this like beautiful light orange, light green color with a pink center, and they just look so gorgeous. These were actually the last ones to bloom. They kind of took a while to come in. We also have some Queen Lime Orange, Queen Red Lime, which is also very beautiful, and there's lots of variations in this one. Look at that one. Kind of small, but it's still very beautiful. We also have Lilliput and Little Flower Girl mix all kind of in here together. And that's been fun. I did notice that the Little Flower Girl mix, or I think that's this variety, they stay relatively small, but they are really beautiful when you tuck them in at the end of a bouquet. These I think would also look really good in a landscape. They're more delicate in my opinion. They're not so much like in your face. So a lot of orange. We also did Cinderella Peach and Cinderella Lilac in the landscape, which I will put up a picture. But again, they're doing really well. I haven't really stayed on top of deadheading them. You can see that quite a bit of them are ready to be deadheaded. So I will come in. But I think last year I was just not more impressed, but they grew bigger last year. Oh, hold on. Look at that one though. Not to get distracted. Look at how pretty. The ones that self-seeded are just doing so beautiful. Actually, let me show you this one over here. This is one plant, which just shows you when you pinch your flowers, how much bigger they actually get. Look at this. This is just one zinnia. So you really don't need to buy a lot for a big impact. You just need to plant them at the right time and make sure that you pinch them if they are a flower that requires pinching, because literally look at how massive that is. Isn't that great? Back here we have beautiful celosia. This is Texas Plume Vintage Rose mix. This is from Florette, and I absolutely am going to be growing more celosia next year because they are probably one of the most stunning and interesting flowers that I've ever grown. They're so cool. We also grew Pompous Plume. I have that in the landscape. We did Flamingo Feather. There's just so many different varieties that we grew. Celosia Super Crest mix, which has been really cool. And the Celosia Fruit Punch, I believe that's this variety here. Just look at the texture and the feel of this flower. It is starting to go to seed, so I'm waiting to harvest seeds from this one. But just look, you guys, like look at how cool that is. I just want to grow a lot more. I want to allocate more location for celosia because I want to learn more about them, and the way I learn is by growing it and really observing it throughout the season. So I'm excited about that. The snapdragons that we had, like I said, had rust pretty bad, and that was my fault again, just not staying on top of paying attention to them. But we grew the I believe the Rocket Pink, Rocket Sunset, Rocket White, Rocket Yellow series. The Phlox is doing so well. This one is Cherry Caramel Phlox, and just look at how beautiful that is. Isn't that so pretty? And I think this is such a good filler, and it adds just a little bit of whimsy to your arrangements. We also have Pincushion Flower. There are 3 varieties that we grew here in the cut flower garden and also in the landscape, and that's going to be Black Knight, which is just this really dark, beautiful one. There's also one called Black Beauty, which looks just a little bit purple, a little bit more purple than this one in the center where these little white speckles are. And then Fatima Morgana, and I'm probably butchering that. but this one is so stunning, probably my favorite. And we also have red Merlot, which is in the landscape. Right here we have Status, which is my first time growing, and I absolutely love it and will be growing a lot more of it. At first I was a little bit worried because it kind of looks like a weed when you start growing it, and then they really just took off. This is the Sunset mix, and this is only one mix, which I actually really love because you get so many different variations. You get a little bit of this dusty rose, there's a little bit of yellow, lots of creamy colors. So I think this is the mix that I'll probably order again. And some of it has gone to seeds, so I will save some seeds from this one as well. But such a beautiful flower, and these are so great for drying. And just listen to that. Isn't that just so fun? So I actually already cut some and I put it to dry in our cut flower shed. So I'm excited to have more of this next year. All right, before we get into the dahlias, I did want to say that we lost around 30 or 40, maybe a little bit more dahlias this year, which is so sad, and I wasn't strategic about it, because usually what I'll do is I'll plant extra up in a container, and if everything blooms, great, I'll just either give those away or I'll plant them in the landscape. This year I didn't do that, and I totally kicked myself for it because we did not expect to lose so many. And a lot of it was because of some of them just didn't come up. Some of them I think had verticillium fungus, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. We had a couple that just wilted and rotted. So again, it's just one of those things that it's kind of part of gardening and growing flowers. These things happened. But at any moment where I thought something had a disease, I quickly just dug it up and threw it in the garbage. Again, when you are dealing with disease, it's best to discard it in the garbage and not in the landscape, because we want to try to prevent those things from spreading. But anyways, it was just so upsetting and so sad. So I kind of feel deprived of dahlias, which is not true. I shouldn't even feel that way because I have so many, but I still feel like I need more. And plus I gave a whole bed to Sergey to plant tomatoes, which I love because we're such a tomato fan over here, but he also ended up growing sunflowers in the tomato bed, which when he told me that idea, I was like, absolutely not. I don't even know what that would look like, but you guys, it actually looks so fun and beautiful. So this will be his designated bed for his tomatoes every year, and his sunflowers that he picked out and he planted, and they're just looking so good. Something I never thought would even look remotely cute, but I love it. It just looks so whimsical over here. But anyways, let's get into the dahlias. Before we look at the dahlias, here's one more look at the tomato beds, and they look empty. That's just because we did a huge harvest of our tomatoes and took everything in, and we do have more coming up. But the sunflower idea was such a win on his part. So shout out to Sergey for coming up with this idea. We definitely have space to grow a lot more flowers. These did not do as well as I had hoped for, but we will be growing more flowers and probably more branching sunflowers next year along with the tomatoes. But overall, oh my gosh, I have just been enjoying them so much in the garden. So here's just a quick overview of all of the dahlias, and they look so magnificent and beautiful. We did deadhead a lot of them, like I mentioned a few days ago, so it looks a little bare, but they have been going to town. You can see the empty areas that we had dahlias. I went ahead and just again dug it up. Some of them are not even blooming yet, which is so odd. It's been kind of a weird year for me with the dahlias. Over here in the front we have honeydew. We have 3 of them right here in the front. And you guys know I've been trying to get this dahlia for so long, and I finally got it, and it's magnificent. This one is blown out. I will say they haven't been blooming as much as I anticipated them to be. They're kind of slow. It could just be, I'm not sure actually, because they get the same treatment as everybody else. They're getting fertilized every few weeks, but they're just not producing as well as I thought. However, when I do see them at flower farms, they do produce a lot of flowers. So I'm not sure why these are taking their time, but nevertheless, it's such a beautiful dahlia and it just glows, and I'm so happy I have it. This one has been so good, you guys. This is Bacardi. First time growing this one, and I am shook at how much I love this one. It has kind of like a mauve-y, dusty rose, faded color with a little bit of yellow. It starts out with the darker center like this, and then it ages a little bit lighter, and then when it gets all blown out, it looks just like that. Isn't that just so stunning and beautiful? We have a couple of them here in this bed. There's one more over there, but what a beautiful, beautiful color. It has thin stems, but they have been doing really well in arrangements this year. So I love this one so much. Over here, also new to our garden, is Cafe de Paris, which kind of resembles a cafe au lait, except it's much smaller and the petals are a lot spikier. So this is how it starts out. Again, that really beautiful, creamy, slightly pink petals. We also have Breakout, which I think is a fan favorite. I think everybody likes Breakout. It's one of those that a lot of gardeners have in their garden or their cut flower garden. Right over here is one of my favorite dahlias. This is Linda's Baby, and she's a classic. I mean, it's a ball variety, can't go wrong with Linda's Baby. Produces really well. It's such a beautiful variety. We have a couple here that are not blooming yet, or I probably cut them and they just haven't come back yet. Another Breakout, another favorite this year. Holy moly. Sweet San, I think it's Sanne. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but this is just the dreamiest flower. It looks like a sunset. Even when it's fully blown out, look at how beautiful that looks. The bees are obviously enjoying these like crazy, but such a beautiful variety. Here it is, a little bit more open. I love the dark stems on this one. Any dahlia that has darker stems like this, I really enjoy. I think it just adds a lot of interest, especially if you have it in the landscape. But I am hoping this one produced more tubers, because I would love to grow several more of these. Look at that. Are you kidding me? That's just like a beautiful, perfect dahlia. Oh, Japanese beetle. Squish, squish, yuck. Anyways, beautiful, beautiful dahlia. We have another Bacardi back here. Teddy is just a really cute, I think it's a water lily variety, just that beautiful like orange. We have what is this one? Edge of Glory. This is Edge of Glory, and it's a really cute dahlia. I don't think there's anything like spectacular about it, but it's white with a little bit of pink and purple. Some of them have been blooming like this, where some of the petals are darker, which I actually enjoy. I think it's fun. Like this one a lot. Here's another really great variety that is new to our garden this year. This is Caitlin's Joy, and it just has like a really beautiful pink, a little bit of yellow. It almost looks like the pink is just brushed on there, almost like brush strokes. Really gorgeous. This one is called Danique, and it's so pretty. Very just deep, and I don't know, it just looks exotic to me. Like when you think of something exotic, this is what that flower or that dahlia is. Very deep, deep orange, burgundy with pinks on the underside. It just kind of glows. This one is blown out. I don't have any other ones blooming, but I do have to come deadhead. It's staying on the smaller side, and it's probably because it came up a little bit late and there's a lot of dahlias in here. But holy moly, look at that color. Love this one. We have Sweet Nathalie, again, another cult favorite. Everybody loves this one. Just a really beautiful. The bees also really love Sweet Nathalie. We have Labyrinth, which is doing really well, kind of on the smaller side this year. Usually the blooms are much bigger than this, but nevertheless, Labyrinth, another cult favorite. Beyond is just so cute, right? Look at that. These don't last as long when they get fully open like this. Because I think the bees just get to them very quickly. As you can see, it's just a feeding frenzy all of the time. But I do think it's one of those like really pretty flowers that would look good in the landscape. We have Cutie Patootie, which is just a really cutie patootie. Very light pink, or kind of like a universal pink color. Nothing super special, but it is very cute. Of course, we have Cafe au lait, one of my favorites. We have several Cafe au laits in here, and I'm actually going to put them together next year. I want to grow them all in the same area because some of them look a little bit more like Cafe Royal, which I didn't order, but those tend to be a little bit more pink. This is another one I really love, Sandra. Holy moly. Let me tell you what. She produces some of the longest stems I have ever seen on a dahlia, and it just blooms its little head off. Let's go to the other bed and I'll show you more of a close-up on how big she gets. I just cut this one pretty deep, but let me show you another one. Right over here we have Lilac Time, which is just such a beautiful purple, dark stems again. I'm not sure what this one is. In fact, I have two of them, but I cannot find the tag, or I can't find it in my Excel spreadsheet of our dahlias. But if you know this one, let me know what you think this is. Ooh, yucky bug. Right here we have Tyrell, really beautiful orange. I love how the petals just kind of, it almost looks like it got a blowout with its hair just kind of pulled back. Its petals just kind of going back like that. Really beautiful. Another Edge of Glory. Peaches and Cream. Now don't confuse this with Peaches and Cream. This is Peaches and Cream, and it is stunning. One of my favorite dahlias of all time. It never disappoints. It's such a beautiful plant. It's healthy. I've never had any issues with this one. It produces. It's the perfect height. Just such a stunner. Right over here we have Chewy, which is really beautiful too. It starts out kind of small and closed up like this. Kind of has a purple petal on the underside. And as it opens, it just gets lighter and lighter. This is a really beautiful one, and it produces a lot of flowers. Right here we have Cornell Bronze, another cult favorite. I love Cornell too. The bronze is probably a little bit nicer. I can't also find the name for this one, but I love it so much. I need to keep digging. If you know, let me know. I think it's a ball variety. It's got a pink color to it. Very tight form in the beginning, dark, thick foliage, and dark stems. And it's about probably, I'd say about 4 feet tall. Let me know if you know this variety because I've been searching high and low for the name of this one. This is totally tangerine. So this is what it's really supposed to look like. It's a lot lighter than the other one that I have on the other bed that I showed you earlier. This is also another favorite. Right over here, again, Giggles, such a cutie. Crazy Legs produces so many flowers. I can't keep up with this one. Like I cut and I cut and I cut and it just keeps coming and coming and coming. But it's very beautiful. I don't typically love yellow flowers, or yellow dahlias in the two tones like this, but I really do love this one, especially in the very beginning. Look at that. That just looks like a sunset. Here's the variety that I'm not sure what the name is. This is what it starts out with, and then it kind of blows out to this. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. This dahlia is called Myth, and I like it because it's just very showy and beautiful. I don't love how they bend down though. Do you see how the neck just kind of curves down, so it's almost like the flower is facing down. I will take this one out of rotation in the cut flower garden and put it in the landscape next year. But it is a really beautiful color, very showy. Again, I actually like, you see how it's bending? It's very interesting, but it just doesn't make a great cut flower. This is Hometown Hero. Again, that double-edged, or that two-tone color. Not my favorite with the red and the yellow, but I really love this. Like, that's very intricate. Isn't that amazing? Just look at that. God's creations, right? So beautiful. We have, I think this is Barn Bounty. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Barn Bounty. We have Otto's Thrill. Look at that beauty. Look at that one. Oh, she's so pretty. I love this one so much. We have Innocence, which is again just a really nice light color, really sweet and girly, a little bit of purple. I like how you can kind of see like the streaks in the middle, the dark purple streaks. It's almost like somebody used a pencil to make those outlines. Love this one. We have Evelyn right in here, which is just such a delicate flower. Look at that. White with the light purple center. Love that one. Here's another Sandra or Sandra. Let me take a step back so you can really see it. Look at that. This is one plant right here, and look at all of the dahlias that it's producing. And the stalk is huge. Look at that. Look at that sucker. It's sturdy, they're long, beautiful color, last a long time. If you're gonna grow a limited number of dahlias, please grow this one, because I'll tell you what, it's totally worth it. Look at that. So pretty. This, I think, is Holly Hill Orange, but it's not one I ordered. So I think, again, somebody played a joke on me. I am not 100% sure. It's definitely not a la mode, which I think it kind of looks like a la mode, but it's not. If you have this one, but you know what? I really do think it's Holly Hill Orange. I'm gonna continue checking, but if you know which variety this is, let me know, but I'm like 90% sure it is. We have Cream Dahlias down here. Very beautiful foliage, dark green. Here's one close up. Stays on the smaller side where they have been for me. Over here is another call out, and this one is called Oh Honey. Look, hold on, let me just bend it a little bit for you. Just look at that. Yellow center with that orange outer petals. Forms beautiful, beautiful long sturdy stems. Again, this is one plant, and look at just how crazy it's going. Look at that. It's beautiful. Definitely one of my favorites. And let's swing over here. Here's another one that I'm having a hard time identifying. If you know this one, please let me know. I don't recall buying this one. Again, that's one of the frustrating parts about sometimes when you buy dahlias, they get mislabeled and you're kind of left trying to figure out what it is. But you know what? That's the name of the game, so it's totally fine. And here's another cafe au lait. Here's more of what I look for in a cafe au lait. I like the royal, the royal cafe au lait, but it's just a lot more pink. Where I kind of like this creamier color, kind of like that dusty center mauve color. And right over here we have a Pinhill Dark Monarch. This is a dinner plate variety. It's not at its full size. It will get bigger than this. Such a fun flower to grow. I do like to arrange with dinner plates. You just have to kind of harvest them at the right time. However, this one I will also transition out and plant in the landscape, which I think will be very, very beautiful, tucked away somewhere. I don't know where, but some. Let me show you the rest. This is the view from over here. So this area actually has quite a bit of space where we can either put a bench, a little seating area, or maybe some pots. I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think, what we should put over here. These posts we have to hang the lights on, which I don't know if we're gonna get to it this year. I hope we do, because that would be really lovely. We just finished pouring some concrete a little bit higher, just to make sure when it rains, not too much of this of water just built up around the wood and causes rot. But it is treated, so it shouldn't rot anyway. But do you guys hear how fun it is to step in here? Oh, so beautiful. All right, well, that is going to wrap up today's tour of the cut flower garden. I hope you guys enjoyed getting an up close look at all of the beautiful flowers that we're growing this year. I am totally excited for next year's cut flowers, and I'm already planning and thinking about and scheming for all of the beautiful new flowers that I want to try to grow. Now, I did want to say that we filmed a sunset tour at Swan Island Dahlias, which was so beautiful and so magical. We do need to go back and get a few more clips, and they are allowing us to go in after hours, so we kind of have to go with what they have available for us. So I think in a few days we're going to go back to film some shots that we missed or that just didn't look as great as we thought it would. And we'll have that video out in about a week or two at the most. So keep an eye out for that video. Thank you again for hanging out with me today in the garden, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.